This is a match that I played against Akiko. Second match I got to play against Akiko at the Las Vegas Open in 2023, so that's very exciting. This one is not a DMP, it's a 7-point match. We're playing on a board lent for the occasion by Dan Minardi, so thank you, Dan. It's much nicer than what I would have been otherwise been playing on. So here we are. We're off to a sort of standard start. She got the opening roll 4-2, respond 5-4. She gets a 6-4 and just runs one out, which, oh, well, maybe look at the splitting down, well, no, just run it out. Just go for a simple game. Reply with a 6-3, which lets me hit the fly shot, which is, very good. And double sixes stays on the bar. So now I'm not in an especially dominating position here, so obviously just roll on. 5-1 isn't super constructive. So it's I can't play 5 down without getting very stacky, so just run the checker out. It's not actually the best play, but it's not terrible. 2-1 lets her hit, which feels loose to me, but is absolutely correct. So it's one of those areas I need to learn. 2-1 is my first blunder of the match, so I ought to cover that blot in the outfield with the 2 and just come in with the 1, but I was worried about being trapped, so I just jump up to the edge of her structure there in hopes of being able to escape that back checker. Because I figure, I'm probably up in the race at this point. Not really. I mean, a little bit. But anyway, so 6-2, she makes the bar point. And then the 2 is a little more awkward. So choices are really bring it in, 8-6, or bring another checker down, 13-11. They're very, very close. And so it makes sense that it's a struggle to like figure out the right move here. The difference is 0.006 according to XG. So, goes with the down groovy. Okay, 5-2 lets me escape that back checker, hitting, which is great, and then covering. So I get to do everything that I could possibly hope for at that point. 3-5 comes in and hits, and it's nice to be able to hit with the 3 or the 5. So that was a good roll for her. 5-2 from the bar. So then the question is, come in on the 20 or come in on the 23. So the right answer is come in on the 20, so that you're not so trapped. 5-1 hits and brings an extra checker down. So now I need something good. 3-1 is okay-ish. Come in at the front and I can hit. So that's pretty reasonable as long as I don't get hit back. 3-4 does hit back though. So because you can come in with the 3 and then hit with the 4. I'm sorry, come in with the 4 and then hit with the 3. Either way, actually. So pretty much going to get hit there. Okay, 5-6 is excellent. Come in with the 5, putting her on the bar, and hit again with the 6, because 2 on the bar is best by far, as the saying goes. 5-2 puts me back on the bar. This is just really a slugfest of a game so far. And an ace-6, so I come in, and then I could hit again, which would be actually the best play, or I can just escape one of those back checkers, which I believe is the direction I'm leaning, because the hitting play gives up that outpoint anchor, which feels kind of valuable right now, but it's not terrible to just run one out. So it's I probably should have run the front one instead of the middle one, but oh well, live and learn. 5-2 is excellent in that it makes the bar point, my bar point, so it gives her the advanced anchor, really strengthens her position a lot. 6-3, now I can do, again, a lot of different things. So what I, in fact, do is run to the midpoint and pull the second checker out, which is, again, not the very best, but not terrible. 5-3, it doesn't, well, you could hit, but then covering is problematic. Could just come out with the 3 and then to the midpoint. Could just make the 3-point. The 3-point's not so good though, because it's does leave that blot. This kind of takes care of the problem of having too many back checkers. So that's seems like the right play. 3-1 lets me make a point finally. This is the first time I've been able to make a point. So that's really nice. Double 3s. Closes in that 5-point, and then what else? So you can bring an extra builder down to the midpoint. So she looks at that. You could also escape that back checker. I'm not sure if she's going to look at that one. Yes, she is. So, and that's what she ends up going with, and that is the best move. So 6-1 lets me escape the back checker if I don't mind having 2 blots in the outfield. So I instead just step up and then safety the other blot. So which is the best. 6-3 lets her run a checker to the outfield. It's 7 away from my checker, so it's a safe position to be at. 6-4 is beautiful, lets me just run to the midpoint. And now we're at a pretty even game. So 3-2 is probably just 1 down. You could have taken some in as well, but it kind of doesn't matter. They're pretty equivalent. Now I'm looking at it, thinking that, okay, having escaped my back checker and like maybe I'm up, but I'm not up. So I just roll 6-5, just dumps 1 to the 2-point. So it's, decent for the race. 6-4 equalizes the race again, and it can be constructive. So she can make her 3-point, which she does. There's a bunch of things that are all roughly equivalent there, again, according to XG. So 5-3, just run 1 in, which is pretty good. 6-3, she clears the midpoint, which is, very, very reasonable again. One of every roll here, every option that she has is just good. So, the 4-2, I can make the 4-point, or I can just slot the 3-point with the 2, or it kind of doesn't matter. But I decide to go with making the 4-point in hopes that I maybe get a shot of those checkers on the bar, which I do not. So double 5s, she just runs them out. And that ought to be a clue to me that, like, if the race was even-ish before, I'm probably down now. 5-1, I just take 2 crossovers, slot the point, and now she's pausing. Position's pretty good. What is the race? That's the critical question. We've broken contact. She does double. The race is, in fact, 103 to 90, and I spend a fair amount of time looking at it here, and I'm pretty sure that what happens is that I miscounted, because I do end up taking this cube, but I'm a couple of pips shy of a take. Like if it was 90 to 101, that's a take, but 103, that's just a little bit too far behind. So I think I miscounted there. 6-2 just brings a couple in, so it's all down to the race at this point. 5-4 is gains me 1 in the race compared to her. So she rolled an 8, I rolled a 9. She rolled a 7, 6-1, so a couple in, and now I roll 5-3. That's an 8. So once again, I gain a pip So like at this point now, if she doubled here, it would be a take. But I've already taken the cube. So okay, 6-2. So that's puts me down 6-4. I gained 2 more pips in the race. So like things are improving for me slowly. But here I am with her taking checkers off, and I still have 1 to bring in. So I'm definitely the underdog here. 5-3. Can bring that last checker in and then take 1 off. So that's what I do. Makes no difference whether you play it that way or, in with the 5, off with the 3. 4-2 takes a couple off, and oh, lucky me, double sixes. So that puts me now up in the race. And so that was kind of the lucky roll I was hoping for. If she doesn't respond well, then I can recube here. 2-1 is not an adequate response. So I double check the race because at this point, having miscounted once, which I don't know at this point, I still do definitely want to be careful to not throw the cube back if it's too early. So double checking things here. I've got, what is that? 30, 35, 39, 41, 44 on my side, and it's 53 on her side. So definitely a redouble, and should be a pass, which she does immediately because she probably counts faster than I do. So I'm off to, in spite of my blunder of a take, I got lucky with those double sixes and was able to turn it around. And so now I'm up 2-0, which is, fabulous. And we're off to our second match, so our second game. So she starts off with a 5-2, split and down, standard. I get double ones, so I can make my 3-point, and then I don't want to make my bar because she split her back checkers, and that would put at a risk. So step up with that instead. 5-1 lets her move to the edge of the prime, and it's pretty stacky, so it's a fairly inflexible position. But should be safe-ish. Except I rolled a 5-4, which lets me hit off of the midpoint. Which again, like I'm a little too scared about these kinds of positions. I've got the stronger board. It's the right move. 5-3 comes in, and then the 5 is, what do you do? So you can hit on the 3 or hit on the ace. She hit on the ace. 6-2 comes in, missing that blot, and then the 6 is a little ugly, so just stepping out with it is right. 3-1 is, lets you do a couple of different things. You can make the 5-point, or you can make the advanced anchor and put me on the bar. So she goes with put me on the bar and make the advanced anchor, because that's 2 good things instead of only 1. 5-2, so I can come in on the 2 and then play down with the 5, or I can come in with the 5 and then play up with the 2. It is better in this case to just go ahead and get the anchor instead of leaving 3 blots all around the board. Not a blunder, but definitely a mistake. So, and I'm punished for it immediately when she rolls a 3-1, which lets her, her 3-1s keep pointing on me and making points, which is just so unfortunate. 5-4 comes in. Then the 5 is what do you do? You can come out with it, or you can bring it down from the 14 to the 9, which is in range, but she has to give up the anchor in order to hit. So that's what I end up doing. It's a good play. 4-3 lets her hit and cover, which is everything you can hope for. And hey, it looks like my 3-1 is pretty good also. So I come in and anchor, so that's very solid. Double sixes is a lot, so that runs those back checkers all the way. And then I can roll a 4-1, which doesn't do a lot, so I'm set up to try to make a prime in case I get a chance to hit her later. And she doubles, which is very, very borderline. This is right on the borderline of a no double and a double take. So it's a very, very close one, not one I probably would have seen. And it does take me a while to think this one through. So I do take it though, which is good because the drop would have been an enormous blunder. 6-1 lets her complete the 5 prime in front of me, so that's bad news for me. Double threes, I could make the bar point or I could make the 4 point, and doesn't matter too much. That's not the best play, but it was a very reasonable play. 4-3 just brings 2 down. It's out of range unless I roll a 1-6. I roll a 5-6 instead. So, do what you can. 3 points, a very reasonable improvement of my board. And again, I'm just hoping that I'll get a shot later on down the road. 5-1 just starts to roll things forward. And my timing's not bad. Oops, double fours is kind of a big roll, so that's going to kind of blow up my timing. So bring 1 in for sure. Bring 2 in for sure. And then, third one down, and then slot, might as well. 6-1 is a bit of a biggish roll, so the 6 has to kind of come off of the 8 point, and then the question is, do you just shuffle, 6 to 5 or go to the ace point? And it doesn't really matter. She went to the ace, which doesn't bury a checker, but it's not a big deal. 5-3, I can cover the blot, and then down with the 5 is reasonable. 6-3 lets her safely run 1 past me, but we're getting into a position where it does look like I might be able to get a shot at some point. 6-3 for me as well, so I can slot the ace point, which is fine, and then forward with the 6. Again, there's like a bunch of plays that are all within like 0.006, so it's not a big deal whatever I do there. 4-3 brings 2 in, really nice, kind of clearing that back checker. And now I'm into a position where when I roll the 6 here, a 6-3, I pretty much have to go ahead and run off of that anchor, because anything else would start to just break my board. I could come in with the 6 and then immediately tear down my board, but the board is what I've got right now. 5-2 lets her bring both in without leaving a shot. So I'm in dismal shape here. 4-3 brings 1 around. It's going to take a lot of luck for me to get something at all. Up double threes is a lot of luck for her. So, points on me, and then it just goes ahead and clears the 6 point. So, now my winning chances are basically non-existent, and now they're 0 because that 6-1 kind of comes in behind all of her structure. I have to roll a bunch of boxcars to turn this around. Double fives, that's not bad. That's, that gets everything in. So, and, hey, look at that. Her structure's not great. Suddenly, hey, wait a second. Oh, okay, double fives for her cleans up a lot. Okay, never mind. I'm pretty much doomed again. 5-3 takes a couple off. So, still, surprisingly at this point, still have something like a percent or 1.5% of chance of winning this. So not a lot. 4-1's not nearly enough to do it. She rolls double fours, and, well, I think I'm going to give up at this point. So, yeah, she's off in 3 rolls. I definitely am not going to continue, so I just go ahead and resign. And we move on to game 3, and we are tied 2-2, 5 away, 5 away. So, you know, even-ish match so far. And notice, I think I didn't manage to not have a single blunder in that game. So, like, you know, as I warmed up a little bit. Okay, 6-4 to start. She does the out and down, which is pretty standard. 4-3 as a response is a little awkward, so I just do the standard play, pretend like she hasn't actually moved. So let's see, 6-3 for her. Can do a couple of different things. So that's one of them, but it is not right. According to the computer, the best thing would have been to just play 18-9, so bring that checker around. 4-2 lets me cover the blot in the outfield, which felt important but is not. So that was a large error of a play, but not the worst, I suppose. 6-5 just dumps one behind me. 6-4 lets me do what? I can make the 2-point. That doesn't feel that big of a priority, given that there's, you know, nothing I'm going to shoot anytime soon, but it is right. So I actually ought to make the 2-point here. The other thing I could do would be what? Just like run that checker off of the 21 point to the 11 point. So 5-4. So now can either hit me outside or hit me inside. Looks like she's looking at the inside hit more than the outside hit. The outside hit is actually better because it helps get her off of that bar point and, you know, get those checkers moving. Kind of using the hit as an opportunity to start getting around the board, but she's mainly looking at the inside hit. Goes with the cover and down, which is not the best play. The hit on the outside would have been the best play, but it's not terrible. And double ones makes the 5-point, of course, and then the question is, what do I do with the ones? I can step up, or I can lift the blot. So I lift the blot, which is the priority there, so that's good. 6-5 is a little awkward now, you know, so it was one of those where it would have been better if she had hit in the prior roll, but oh well. And now I roll on both sides of the board. Let me try that again. And double fours, so I make my next big blunder. So what I should be doing here is saying I'm down in the race. I need to keep that back checker back and just like make my board, bring a bunch of stuff inside. But instead, I run that checker all the way around, which is just terrible. 6-1, not the best roll, just makes the ace point. And now I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, am I up in the race? And the answer is no, I'm not up in the race. The quick way of counting this is just look at crossovers. I've got 6 crossovers in my outfield and 6 on my midpoint, so that's 12 total. She's got 8 in my outfield and 2 in her infield, so 10 total. So I'm down 2 crossovers, so down at least a roll. In fact, I'm down 14 pips. So I just need to roll, and I do, and I get a 5-4. So I can either come off the midpoint and slot the 4, or just make the 4. It's better to make a point than to slot it, so I go ahead and make it. 5-1 brings one in, slots one. Doesn't really matter too much there. Like she's just hoping to get those back checkers moving at some point. 4-1, I can get even number on the midpoint, which maybe lets me clear it later. 1 doesn't matter as much. You know, it's pretty reasonable. Double ones is, you know, not the best. She needs some big numbers so that she can clear the bar point or the midpoint. So making the points reasonable, and then, bringing the last one in, and it's kind of up there among the best moves. So let's see. Here I get a 6-1, which, yeah, if I just play it in, that's fine. 6-4 lets her clear the midpoint, which is a reasonable start. And now double twos, once again, I'm actually down in the race. And I think at this point I recognize that I'm down in the race. So like the blunder move would be to play like 13 to 11 with two of them to try to start to break contact. But I need the contact. So I need to find some way of playing it more with the checkers that are inside. So the obvious best thing would be to play 6-2 with two of them, and then try to find something else to do. But I think what I'm thinking about is how do I take care of those checkers that are in on the 8 and 9 right now. So not as much of a priority, but oh no, okay, I do look at the 6-2 first, and so then okay, now what's the question is, all right, so 2 in would have been better to just slot the ace point, but it's not terrible. Okay, and she rolls a 3-2, which is constructive at least, so that's not so bad. And now 6-1 is awkward because I'm going to leave a blot somewhere. So I decide to leave it with the minimum number of shots, which, makes sense. And I'm hit immediately. So ace 3, so the 1 is to hit, the 3 is to lift so as to not get hit back, because after all I do have a 4-point board. 6-2 dances, and she doubles, and I pass before she even gets the cube all the way out, because boy is that position terrible. So not too bad. It's down another point now, so she's got 5 away, 4 away. Means that this is a game where I can cube a little more aggressively, and that's not a terrible thing. 4-3 starts with 2 down. Respond with a 5-1, so I bring 1 down, and then splitting the back checkers is dangerous with all of the checkers that she has in the outfield, so I slot instead. 4-3 lets her hit that blot anyway, so then off to not the best start here. 4-4 is pretty good. So what I'm looking at there was I was thinking about, well, I could come down and hit on the 5, but I can also come out and hit on her 9-point off of the stack on her ace point. So that seems a little stronger. So I come out and hit, and then what to do with the last one? Just step up. So that is the best move. I'm happy I found that one. Doubles are hard. 5-1 lets her anchor and hit, so that's pretty clear. And now I need something good. This qualifies. 6-5 is a blunder the way I played it, though. The hit is obvious, and then I ought to just run it out, but instead I run the 16 down. So it's putting it in danger for no particular reason. So then she replies with the 3-6, comes in and can either hit or come out. And in this case, the best is to just keep it going, but she's looking at the hit because after all, I've got a 1-point board, and hitting is fun. But that is, in fact, would be a blunder to do. So she does find that the best play is to just run out. So now what do I get? 5-3, that's pretty good. Can't make the 5-point because that has got a stack on it. Could make the 3-point, or I could just cover covering seems pretty good. And then what to do with the, if I cover, what do I do with the 5? So I go with hitting, which is second best. It's not terrible. It would have been better to just run one of those back checkers out. 5-3 enters and hits. So, but I accomplished my goal of getting her off of the ace point, which is, great, as long as I don't give her another checker back to do it again. So come in with the 4, slot with the 6. Not a terrible development for me. 3-1 lets her cover and safety. So that's a really good roll. 6-2. So I can't run off the back anchor because both 2s and 6s are blocked. So the thing to look at is, let's just cover and slot another point. So focusing on just building my board at this point. Actually quite a bit up in the race because she's got those 3 checkers back and I've only got 2 back. But still there's not much else I can do. So here 6-5, the right thing to do would be to go ahead and run off the back anchor at this point because, like I said, I'm up in the race. What I did instead was to go ahead and play 1 in, so 13-2, because I was afraid of getting hit, I guess. But it goes against the theme: when you're up in the race, then race. So pretty sure I knew the race at that point, but I did not play it right anyway. 6-1 just kind of shuffles 1 around. It's a okay move. 4-1, starting to get a little awkward. I go ahead and make the ace and cover the other blot, and that's the best I can do at this point. 5-2 doesn't hit, but it does make a point, so that's solid. I need something big, or I need something useful. Double 6s is big. Useful, I'm not so sure, but it's big. I can't move the back checkers. The 6s are blocked, so I'm going to have to come off the midpoint. Then the question is, like, what do I do instead? Okay, so I have to bring 1 off the midpoint. Do I have to? Yes, because I could move at most 3 from the outfield. So I just go ahead and bring 2 down, 2 in. It's the best I can do. It's not what I would like, but c'est la vie. Okay, so now she's looking at things, goes ahead and rolls correctly. 6-4 is nice because I've given up any kind of outfield control, so this would be a good time to just run both of those back checkers out. You could also do something with kind of like clearing, the 10 point, but that's not a priority right now. So 5-1 is a good roll for me. Lets me make the 3, so now I've got a good board going. 4-3 is not a terrible roll. So it looks like she's going to just stack up there on the 10 point. It's a little bit problematic because that's 6 away from my anchor, and that's going to become a hard point to clear. I play 4-2 incorrectly here, so I ought to just clear the 7 point because it's not doing me any good, but instead I leave 1 out there to save a 6 that doesn't really matter anyway. 6-4 continues to stack up on that 1 that's 6 away from me, so not a strong position, and double 5s just kind of blows it up anyway. So double 5, come out, come down. I now have an enormous racing lead. And double 1s is a pretty minimal response. So I've got 3 crossovers left before I can start to bear off. She's got a ton of extra out there, so obvious double and obvious pass. So I managed to even the score back up. 3-3, we're 4 away, 4 away. And so that's pretty good. And this is feel like I'm holding my own here against a two-time world champion. So I'm very proud of myself at this point, I'm sure. So here we are starting off with a three. What was that? That was I guess we both rolled threes. Okay, let me try that again. 3-1. That's a much better situation for me. So great opening roll. 6-5. Let's her just run the checker. And then 5-1 is great. I like to unstack there. Split would be fine also. Basically equivalent. 5-1, so it just steps up because there's not a better thing to do with the 1. And now a 6-4 lets me point on her. So I'm suddenly in a pretty good shape here. So if she dances, oh, no, she does not dance, double threes. So in, makes a point and brings a builder down. So now I'm not in great shape because I still have those stacked back checkers. Here I ought to hit and split because that's kind of a basic thing to do. It's not quite a blunder, but it's a big-ish mistake, and it's one that I wish I had done the split. So she comes in with the 4-1, just kind of enters and unstacks, so nice and constructive. And I've got a big problem in that my back checkers are still stacked. 5-1 is my next blunder. I make a lot of blunders in this game. So I ought to come in and hit, but I've been so stressed about the stacked back checkers that I go ahead and unstack at this point and, kind of leave her in very good shape. 6-3 would have entered and hit anyway, so it's one of those that, okay, I wasn't going to learn my lesson from that, but now she's able to make a full 4 prime in front of me. My own 6-3 does let me do something though, so I can come down and hit, or I can run one out. So I'm, at least think about the hit, but decide with the running play, which is just slightly better. So that's good. And now we're in a position where she could double me, but doesn't. Well, it's a 5-3, so hits outside and escapes. So very solid position. I need a good bit of luck here to survive. Double twos qualifies, so that's in, cover, and hit. So perfect roll. Did everything. Super lucky roll for me. 4-6 is not a lucky roll. It comes in and escapes, but puts that checker in danger. I need a little bit practice rolling apparently, so I try again. Get a 6-2. I can hit on the outside. So now just hoping for her to dance so that I can cube her out. She does dance, and I immediately double when in fact I am too good at this point. I've got that extra checker I could pick up in my outfield. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just so excited that I got the hit and the dance, and hit, dance, double is just like such a basic pattern that I just went with it without really thinking. So shame on me. We're off into the next one. 5-4 to start, 2 down. 4-2 lets me make the 4 point. Pretty good. Puts me slightly up, I think, in the position. 6-2 is perfect. Makes the bar point, and so now she's slightly up in the position. 6-5 would have been better if she didn't make the bar. So here I ought to play 2 down, but I'm worried about slotting the bar for some reason. I shouldn't be, because she's got a 1 point board, so I just play it in. 6-3 would have hit, but instead just runs one out. Double threes is a very lucky number. I hit, I make the 5 point, and then do what? So it's I ought to split those back checkers, because that's my biggest problem at this point, is that I'm stacked up there on her ace point. But I'm not sure what else I'm thinking would be a reasonable play. I mean, probably down off the midpoint, but I do find the split there. So again, yay me, I found the best move. So here I missed a double, a pretty significant double. I'm thinking that, I'm 3 away, she's 4 away. It's risky to double. So I'm not even thinking about the cube. Double fours lets me shift, which is, a nice play, and make the 2 points. So that was all really good. 3-1 brings one in. And now I'm in solidly 2 good position. So 6-2 ought to be hitting because, that's the priority. And then like the next checker down because I'm in blitz mode. So I look at the extra checker down, but I apparently don't go for it. I just step up, which is unnecessary. So that was a mistake there. 5-1 brings one in, and 5-3, so I can cover. And then what? So it should be cover and bring one down, or step one up, so that I could have both of those back checkers ready to escape. But instead, I have blitz mode on the brain and bring one down. It's not a big mistake. But if she enters on this roll, it becomes a problem, and she does. So 5-2 comes in, and then can hit, but you don't really want to hit when I've got a 5-point board and you've got a 1-point board. So just stacks up on the 6. Double fours is a good roll for me. Brings one in, that safeties it. 2-3. Escapes it. So then the last one is down because what else can you do? And that is the right play. Everything else is at least a 0.23 blunder. So I'm glad I found that one. 6-5 does not hit, and is just basically just terrible, right? So you can play a couple behind, or you can bring 2 down. Those are the only 2 reasonable options. Playing 2 behind is slightly better according to the computer, but it's just pretty unpleasant. So she goes with keeping the checkers in front of me. And now again, I ought to double, but I just again can't fathom that I should double in a game here where I'm 3 away and she's 4 away. If I give her the cube, then she's got perfect recube potential. So I just roll on. Double twos is far from the best. So it's the first priority ought to be stepping up off of that 9 point, and so I do that first, and then play kind of a dump behind play with one of them and step up best I can hope for. 6-5 does not hit, and so she can just make a point on her home board. So start to equalize the boards. 5-point versus 2-point. This again, I ought to be doubling here, but I'm just not even thinking about. Well, I guess I am thinking about the possibility because I am spending some time here now looking at it. So if I escape that back checker, I'm obviously in great shape. But I apparently feel like I need to do that first. So I do with the 3-1 safety, the 1 blot, step up to the edge. 6-1 doesn't do much. It doesn't hit. Doesn't easily play behind. So 6 comes in and the ace hits, and now there's some volatility, and I'm able to see the cube. So I throw the cube. It's a big pass. She's looking at it for a little while because I do have those 2 buried checkers, but sees the pass fairly quickly. So eventually, it only took me 2 missed doubles before I saw it. So that's about average, I would say. So now we go into 5 away. I'm sorry, 2 away, 4 away. So about as volatile as it can get. I absolutely am not going to touch the cube this game. I get to start us off with the 5-1, so I come down and split. Her own 5-1 does the same. And now 6-5 is really good. I can make the bar point, which is a really solid move. It is kind of an anti-gammonish play here, so that's exactly what I hope for. 6-1 steps up and out, and then 5-4, I definitely should be hitting with the 4. And then the question is what to do with the 5. So coming down with an extra checker is pretty stacky, so I go with the hitting play, given that she's got a 1-point board. It would have been better to just bring the extra one down, but it's not an enormous mistake, so, it's definitely done worse. Here we go now with a 4-2, so clear position, clear to just make the 4-point, right? Well, actually, no, it would be better to cover and then, play a little quieter, because I don't want to be in a position where she can hit me, because that is gammonish, and I really don't want to be gammoned in this game. So let's see, where are we? I'm up to rolling my 5-3, so I cover that ace point. That's pretty good. 6-5 comes in and makes the second point, so that's also quite nice. 6-2, what do you do here? So you can't bring it into, like normally you would slot the 5-point, but she's made the 5-point. So it's, once again, why is the golden point so good? Because it does things like this, makes your 6-2s awkward. So I bring the 6 down and the 2 in, figuring I still do have the stronger board, and if I get her off of the anchor, that's probably good. She rolls a 4-2, so she can make a point on her home board, or she can hit me. And so she goes with hit me, which is right. So that's, and then, having hit, you just kind of keep going. So a lot of trouble now. 3-6 is a solid roll, comes in, and so I don't know what else I'm looking at. The only option really is to run it out. So that works. She rolls a double 2, which hits me outside and makes a point. So now I'm in a lot of trouble. Even worse trouble when I dance, 6-2. And so she stops to look at it here. There's a possibility of it being too good, but it's definitely a pass. And so she throws the cube. I drop it right away, and we go into the next game, where now we are 4 away, 3 away, and once again, I'm just basically expecting that early in this game she's going to double and I'm going to pass. So 3-1 is a good start. I'm already ready to drop a cube. 4-2 is a pretty good reply, so I make a point also. She rolls a double 1, which is often very, very good, just makes the 4-point. Roll a 6-2, which lets me escape back checker, which is pretty good. And now here she's at a position where she has a double already, but instead she rolls on 5-1, just comes down and forward. I roll a 4-3, which is pretty good. Just bring that around. Here again, she's got a double, but doesn't. Just rolls on 6-5, makes the bar point. I'm feeling pretty hemmed in here. 4-3 is a good roll. Lets me cover and slot a point. So I'm actually not in terrible shape here now, so I'm feeling okay. 4-2 lets her bring one in and one down. 6-3 is, I should have run it out here, but that would have been a solid play and would have kept the cube from coming at me. But I'm still thinking that like I'm kind of the underdog. I'm probably just going to get doubled and pass. Um, but it's the escaping play. If I get away with it, puts me into a position of being kind of evenish. So instead, I play it in, which leaves that back checker, which is my biggest liability. Just leaves that alone. She again could have doubled, but didn't look at it. I don't think, and just plays the 6-2, making another point. Boy, do I feel despondent at this point. I kind of regret not running that back checker. 5-1 lets me at least build my board up a bit. Um, and now she's looking at the double. And here it is a double and a take. But I'm not sure I would have taken it at this point. I'm pretty sure that I would have gone ahead and passed already. And my whole mindset at this point is she's going to double, I'm going to pass. Double sixes is just a huge roll. Goes ahead and points on me. I need something good. Double threes is pretty good. I come in and then I can find something else to do. So I just go ahead and make my 5 point. So I'm in pretty good shape comparatively, but it's obviously a double at this point. And like I said, this whole just based on the match score, I've been thinking I'm going to get doubled, I'm going to pass. The double three was a good enough roll that I do stop to really think about it though. So at this point, she can hit me loose or pretty easily on this next roll. Any 6, any 5, and also any 10. So that's a lot. And, but, if that doesn't happen, like my winning chances are not bad here. The problem is that, when she does hit me loose, then I get gammoned an awful lot and then I lose the match that way. So I do find the pass and we go to 2 away, 2 away. So basically we're in the DMP game. It's just a question of like how quickly do we get around to throwing the cube once this game starts. So 4-2 to start. So I know how to play that one. Just go ahead and make my 4 point. And then she rolls on because, I'm up a little bit, so it's not necessary to double yet. Also rolls a 4-2, which is nice. Double sixes gives me a solid racing lead. And so, again, she's not going to double because she's actually down right now. Double twos is pretty good, just goes ahead and gets to that advanced anchor. And I ought to have doubled, but given that there wasn't any real threat, I felt like it was optional. So small mistake there. 5-1 makes the point, slots the point, brings one down. Again, I ought to double here, but again, no threat, so didn't feel like it's a rush. 5-2, go ahead and just make a run for it. Pretty reasonable. 6-4 is going to hit me, of course, and then the question is what to do with the 6, because it can't cover, so I just bring one down. Now there's threats, so now I go ahead and throw the cube out, but obviously it's a take. It's basically a 50-50-ish position. 5-4 I can hit, and I can hit twice, or I can cover. So hitting twice is better, so I go ahead and hit twice. And then she enters with a 2-1, gets both of them in, so that's pretty good. So now I need to cover that blot. 6-1 doesn't cover, but it does let me make a point on her head, so that's pretty solid, in fact. 3-1, so she can anchor and slot, and that's better than having them all spread out, so that's pretty good. She's got a double anchor game. Here's my next blunder. So the 5, or it's not really a blunder, but this was an interesting one, I thought. So the right play would just be to come down to the 10. But I missed it, and now she rolls a 6-4, which lets her hit with the fly shot. So she runs that one out, and now I get a 2-1. So I come in and hit loose, which is basically 0.006 difference between that and the best plays. So, all right then. 3-6 comes in and then has to find a good 6, covers the bar. That's pretty solid. And now I roll a 5-6, which is doesn't escape, doesn't cover. So I have to figure out something else to do. If I can't escape and I can't cover, one other thing I could do is hit. So I go ahead and hit. And here we are in a position with me kind of double tigered. So 5-3, I lift up the 5 for her, but it's like actually, you get a choice of which one you want to hit. So she hits on the 3 and then covers. So that's better, clearly. 5-2 lets me anchor, so that's nice. And then what's the 5? I could hit loose again. That would be a bit much. I could shift. That would be okay. So I just, bring it down, which is pretty strong. 4-2 is a great roll for her. Lets her not only hit me, but move to the advanced anchor. And so now I'm in a lot of trouble. Enter with the 2, so that's good. Go ahead and hit loose with the ace, because why not? It didn't matter whether I just went to the 2 or hit loose. It work out to about the same. My winning chances are around 10 or 11% at this point. Not very good, in other words. Ace 3 chooses to not hit initially, because, do you really want to send another checker back? Well, why not? Okay, it's more fun this way. So she hits. It's 0.02 error, so it's not a big deal. 3-2 lets me enter on the 3-point and then step up. So now I'm hoping to get the double anchor going. 6-3 sort of puts the kibosh on that idea. So then the question is, in or out with the 6. So the in play doesn't do that much. The out play gives you a lot of flexibility, so she goes with that. So then now I roll a 5-2, so at least I'm in, but then I've got to hit loose with the 5. So my winning chances are down to about 7%. In with a 5-6, so anchors and just comes down. I need an escaping number. Instead, I get a 6-2. So kind of doesn't matter. I'm down to about 5% winning chances. I go ahead and play with the loose play on the idea that she doesn't want to hit me anyway. 5-4 puts her in a position of a full prime, so basically, again, game over. I'm down to about 2.5% at this point. And, just got to play a bunch of 5s. So let's just leave the one blot in front of her there. Okay, 6-2 runs off the back anchor. Even if I roll a 1, I don't want to hit here because I'm behind a full prime. So I roll a 1, and so I can cover, but there's no point in hitting and covering. Just sort of hope that somehow her position crunches and lets me get into a position of being able to have a speed board when it does. Although with 4 checkers back, it's pretty hopeless. 6-2 just continues to kind of bring things around and in. 4-2 is forced play. There's no 4, so just play the 2. She rolls a 3-1, so just round the corner. 4-2, I barely can move anyway, so I play the 2, no 4s. 5-2 comes on in, so really good structure there. 6-5 helps with the race if I could play either of those numbers, but I can't. So 5-2, so now she's going to open up. Goes ahead and clears from the rear, which makes sense. And a 6-5, oh, that helps a lot. So, that takes my winning chances all the way up to about 3% after that roll. So 3-1 brings a couple in, or I'm sorry, 3-2 brings 2 in. 3-2, just bring it forward. So, if I can get a shot, then there's still some winning chances here. 5-4 gives me some more flexibility and a 3-point board, so that's okay. Double 3s could just clear the 6-point, but just goes ahead and takes 2 off. 6-1, just keep coming around. Double 6s, hey, I have a shot. All I have to do is roll a 3 and suddenly I'm back in it, and I don't. I roll a 6-4. So I can play it all inside on my side, or I can run one out. It's equivalent. I'm down to 0.4% winning chances at this point. No matter what I do, I'm pretty much doomed. But I spent more time thinking about this than I really should have. But, I've got 3.5 minutes left, and, this game is not going to take that long. So no harm done. 4-3, the 4 just dumps behind, and then the 3 off is perfectly reasonable. Double 3s, I have to run at least one of them, so, and obviously I want to stay back for the shot. It's still my only winning chance is if I get the shot, another shot, and looks like I'm going to. So now all I have to do is roll a 1, and then I'm back in this. Instead, I roll a 6-4. So once again, need to keep that back checker there. So she rolls a 4-2, so that's 1 off and 1 past me. And as long as I roll small, nope, I roll a 5-1. So that's that. I have lost the match. So it was a really good match. I ended up playing pretty well through most of it. There was one enormous blunder in there in the game before this one that really blew up my PR, but enjoyed it and hope you did too. Thanks.